Howdy, guys, and welcome to Survivor 43's Episode 7 recap, and welcome to Cliff Notes as well. All right, another action-packed episode. It seems like last week was night number 13. It's night number 14. Is that the case? Did all that we see happen this week take place in the span of a single day? Not really sure about that, but there's a lot going on, so let's get right to it. Now, first of all, last week, let's talk about who we lost. We lost Ellie. She was talking about how great a game, how easy the game was, how great the game was that she's playing. Yeah, don't ever say that. Karma bit her. She paid the price. We lost Ellie. We're now down to a single tribe of 12 people left. 12 people sitting around tribal councils. A lot of people, a lot of different moving parts that take place. So it's fun listening to all the strategies, figuring out who's doing what this evening. So again, down to 12 people. Now, as the episode starts off, we see Janine really shocked that she lost Elsie. These two were like this. They were very tight with each other. They had a grand plan, a complete blindside, had no clue that Ellie was going home. Janine is absolutely shocked. She knows at this point she very well could be on the outside. She didn't know the plan, so obviously she's not privy to a lot of that's going on. So she's very upset. She's very concerned, as she should be. But we do see almost immediately Noelle approaching her and saying, look, I kind of, same thing happened to me with, was it Justine? I think she says, kind of same thing happened to me. It was a shock and all. She said, but you're okay. I don't think anyone is really holding anything against you, Janine. It was all about Ellie. This actually could be good for your game. You need to just make sure that no one else thinks that you're upset about it. Be positive about everything and talk to people in that way. And so Janine is going to do just that. She's telling everyone how great it is for her game. Basically, she's saying, look, I'm playing my own game. I hope y'all don't hold what Ellie was doing against me because, you know, I'm playing my own game and please, I'm ready to start fresh and all that. And everyone, at least to her face, and I think it's more than that, is saying, no, you're good. You're good. And that could be true because everyone had talked. Remember, people like Sammy and Owen and others had talked about just how tight Janine and Ellie were. So to lose one half of that duo probably does help the other half, which in this case is Janine. Now, what I think is funny is it does seem like Janine has gotten a fresh start with Ellie out the door. Gabler just doesn't know that it was Janine that was going through his bag, not Ellie. Not that Ellie didn't know, not that Ellie didn't encourage it, but it was really Janine. But it looks like we're past that. Janine has gotten a free pass to some degree, as much as you can get free pass from Gabler. But Janine is telling everyone, I'm here to play my own game, and she doesn't look like nearly as much of a threat as she was while she was attached to the hip with Ellie. So in a lot of ways, I do think it benefits her. But that doesn't mean that she still isn't on the outside of a lot of alliance and talk, right? Well, maybe not, because almost immediately afterwards, we see the next day on the episode. Later the next day, it's sunshine out on the beach. We've got Owen and Dwight talking, discussing their plans going forward, saying they feel pretty comfortable with the way things are turning out. They're mentioning the fact that the two of them, plus Sammy and Janine, so maybe she's not so much on the way out, but Owen and Dwight, Sammy and Janine, Noelle and Gabler, all working together going forward. So basically, most of the Vesey and Baca tribe working against Coco. Remember, we kind of heard that talked about one challenge where those two tribes helped each other against Coco. Well, it seems like they're kind of getting back together. It probably would have happened last week if Gabler just didn't have it in against Ellie so much and pushed so hard to get her out the door. But now it looks like you may still see Vesey and Baca coming back together based on what Owen and Dwight are talking about. Owen is saying, though, that he's still nervous about Gabler. Owen's complaining that Gabler really destroyed everything they'd worked for. They wanted to come in as the Baca 5 strong and really try to control the next stage of the game. But because of Gabler pushing to get Ellie out, that didn't happen. The Baca 5 is no longer 5. They're now 4. We'll see how well they stick together or not. So we do have Owen talking about still working with Gabler, but a little bit worried about it. Meanwhile, Gabler's feeling pretty good about the way things went, having taken out Ellie. Now, I wasn't sure how he would respond with, if you recall last week, when Ellie walked out the door, and my big brother thinking, when her torch was snuffed, she said, "That's what you get for trying to work with Gable," or something along those lines. I wasn't sure how Gabler would take it. I think he's taking it as a badge of honor. I think he likes the fact that he was called out by Ellie, that she's blaming him because he wanted her. I think he wants her to think that he was the main driving force, and he was. So I don't think it's bothered him at all. But maybe it should. Anytime you get called out in tribal, I would be a little bit nervous if it was my name being called out. But Gabler's fine with that. He's just so happy that that Ellie went out the door, that he felt like he got enough people behind him to support him to send her out. So he's feeling pretty comfortable now. And he's saying that he says something about he's the Gabler the Gator. Rose to the surface just long enough to take a bite, take Ellie out. Now he's going to go back under the water. Excuse me. Lay low for a little bit, let other people do the work, and just kind of stay under the radar. Can Gabler stay under the radar? I'm not completely convinced that that's possible with someone with a personality like Gabler. We'll find out. But he is going to go ahead and try to lay low as much as he can, which is probably a good idea because his immunity idol is not good anymore. It expired at the last tribal council, which still makes me a little curious why he didn't give it to someone. Now, I know he wanted Ellie gone. He sure wasn't going to give it to her. No one else was really in danger, as it turns out. She was a target by a lot of folks. I still think if I'm Gabler, I would have found someone whose name had, like Cody, someone whose name maybe had only been mentioned once or twice just in passing. Still approach someone like that and say, "Hey, just because I heard your name, I don't think it's serious, but I'm safe. So why don't you take it? And if you want to play it, great. If not, well, know that it's there if you need it, if things go wrong." I still think he could have built up a little bit of a relationship by using that idol. At this point now, it's just a souvenir to take home. But whatever. Gabler's feeling pretty good about his situation of the game. All right. So at this point, we now have a tree mail show up. The tribe mates are reading it. Little interesting twist here. They're getting ready to compete. Well, first of all, they're told there's no more tribe immunity idols, which we would expect. They're merged into a single tribe. It's going to be individual immunity from this point forward, as far as we know. But a little bit of a twist that we haven't seen before. They're now supposed to split up into 6 duos for the next competition. But what makes it interesting, there's no direction from Probst or anyone else about how they're to split up. They have to decide on their own how they're going to get into this these 6 groups of 2. Which is interesting because, as we quickly see, no one wants to reveal anything. No one wants to declare loyalties by immediately pointing out someone they want to work with, by trying to point out someone who they think is strong or weak. Everyone is scared to even make a suggestion as to how they should draw names for fear of alienating someone else or sending a message that maybe, hey, that person suggested that we do this. Obviously, they don't want to work with me. So many worries going on with the way these groups split up. So eventually, can't remember who it was, someone suggests that, hey, let's just draw rocks. So they take 12 rocks, paint them 6 different colors, 2 rocks of a different color, 6. Y'all know what I mean. Draw the rocks, and that's how they figure out who the 6 duos are going to be. That's probably the safe move to go. No one wants to reveal anything, so it makes total sense that you would do it like that. So what are the duos that we end up with? We end up with Owen and Gabler as team number 1, Cody and Dwight as team number 2, Noel and Sammy as team number 3, Ryan and James as team number 4, Carla and Cassidy as team number 5, and Jesse and Janine as team number 6. Nice little split in there. I thought the draw was pretty good. And that's how they end up showing up to the competition itself. And we find out that this, no reward mention, they're getting right into it. This is straight up an immunity competition. And Jeff tells us that kind of the twist tone in here, because here's how it's going to work. First of all, it's another obstacle course type competition. We've seen a lot of them this season. But this one actually has 3 stages. First round, first stage, everyone competes, all 6 duos. You've got to crawl through a net, dig up some planks that are hidden under dirt, race back to your mat. At first 4 duos to do that advance to round number 2. The last 2 duos that can't finish this, or that come in last and second to last, they're out. That's the end of the competition for them. So now we've got 4 duos left. Those 4 duos are going to race up a cargo net carrying the planks that they previously found in round 1. They're going to use those planks to lay them across ropes to allow them to cross a canyon, an open area type thing. Get to the other side, gather up the planks, slide down a ramp. First 2 to make it to the ramp are competing in the final round, the final stage. So we lose another 2 duos at this point. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting, because Jeff then informs us, says, look, at this point, there's going to be 2 duos, 4 people left, but y'all are only playing for 1 immunity idol. There's only 1 person who's getting immunity. We're not having any of these duos, 2 people getting it. Now it's going to be 1 person. So when you get to the final stage, the 2 duos are no longer duos. All 4 of y'all will be competing as individuals. You're going to be holding a handle that's tied to a rope that's holding up a bucket that represents 25% of your body weight. Whoever holds that bucket up the longest before letting go wins immunity. Sounds easy, right? Now, this is a tough challenge. It's a tough competition. And again, at the end, there's 1 person that gets immunity. So the competition starts off. These nets look miserable. Did I neglect to say that these cargo nets that you have to crawl through are very low to the ground, right in the middle of a big old puddle of mud, big old swamp of mud. And these cargo nets are twisted up intentionally. They're rough looking. And we have 1 member of each duo gets halfway through. At that point, the only way to untwist this net so you can get the rest of the way is basically just to lay there and spin around as best you can inside the net, covering yourself with mud as you do so, until finally you reach the point where you've untwisted enough that you can proceed forward and get the rest of the way through. Of course, when you do that, that means the next person in your duo who's behind you now has a whole different mess of net twisted up from behind where you were at. It was a lot of twist going on. It sounded like a Chubby Checker song. A lot of twisting going on in this particular competition, and a lot of mud covering up everyone as well. Tough competition. And as it turns out, we lose the duos of Sammy and Noelle and Janine and Jesse. And Janine and Noelle are the 2 that are still stuck in the nets when the other 4 teams have made it to the mats. And they're very upset. Noelle in particular. And it was a nice little feel-good moment. She's talking about the fact that if it's just her fighting for immunity, she's not going to feel great about it. But knowing that she's hurting Sammy's chances to compete because he was her duo is what's really killing her. She's very upset. Sammy is very understanding, saying, nah, yeah, we're good. I didn't want to hold that bucket up anyway. And so it's just a feel-good moment that you like to see on Survivor. But nevertheless, we're down now to 4 duos left. Round 2, running up the cargo net, crossing the bridge, sliding it back down. We've lost Carla and Cassidy and Ryan and James. Ryan and James not seeming so happy with I mean, these guys are tight with each other. It's funny they ended up as a duo with each other, but kind of calling each other out a little bit for not working as well as they should have, trying to use the planks to get across the open area. But doesn't matter because they're out. So we have lost the 2 of them, which means the final 4 competing for immunity are now Cody, Gabler, Owen, and Dwight. Four strong guys trying to hold up these buckets, again, representing 25% of their body weight. Dwight's out pretty quickly. He's out fairly fast, so we're down to the final 3. Then Owen is out. Cody and Gabler, they're both fighting for this. Jeff Probst tells us at one point, the record across all Survivor seasons having done this is 25 minutes. No one's ever lasted that long. Well, Gabler and Cody immediately say, yeah, we're gonna beat it. And they do. They beat it, and they're feeling comfortable enough with each other that I noticed both of them let go of the handle with one hand so they can point at each other and congratulate each other before they go forward. So they truly are fighting for this. I love to see people fight in endurance competitions like this. Now, they have different strategies. Cody, for the most part, is very quiet, not saying a word. Gabler the Gabbler, this guy is talking the entire way through. He's decided that every minute that he's up there, he's going to dedicate that minute to someone else. And it actually is pretty interesting. He's dedicating it to a war hero. He had a story about that. He dedicates a minute of it to Noelle, talks about how much she inspires him being out there competing. He had some real nice dedications. I actually did like hearing Gabler, and a little expose he had afterwards as well. So, but definitely a different strategy. Gabler's just talking away and acting very cocky, saying, I can hold on to this thing forever. I'll be here all day. Cody's very much more focused. And as it turns out, there's a reason for it, because Cody is hurting. Cody's doing everything he can, but he just can't beat Gabler. Eventually, the rope slips out of his hands, or he just can't keep his grip up. The bucket falls. Gabler has won the first individual immunity that everyone was competing for. I probably wouldn't have picked him. Remember, was it episode 1 or 2 where he was just winded? He could barely move around. He was hungry. He was tired. Gabler wasn't doing well. He's found his second win. He's been inspired by his ability to get Ellie out at the last tribal, and he's on a roll at this point because he has won immunity. Congratulations to him. He is now safe from at tribal council. The other 11, any one of them could go home. Now, I mentioned some of the dedications that Gabler gave during the competition. They had a little expose, I guess you can call it a confessional, where Gabler's talking to the cameras afterwards. And it's really, I really like to see that. It's him talking about working with veterans, about PTSD for these veterans, that he's helped a lot of people. Remember, he's a heart valve specialist, and he talks about that PTSD isn't just wartime. It's also him in the operating room. He still remembers cases from 17 years ago, and all of us have different things. So it's nice hearing him talk about that and just trying to help people and remembering people who've made so many sacrifices in life. So I always love the segments. And so, I love the strategy. I love the competitions, but I love the times where we get to see that these people playing these games, they're just regular people. Now we get to see them humanized a little bit. They aren't machines out there. They're just regular people playing the game of their lives. So anyway, I enjoyed watching that with Gabler. And now let's go to the strategy talk and conversations, because there sure was a lot of that as well. With 11 people getting voted out. I mean, 11 people, you've got to think, my chances are pretty low that it's going to be me. But it's got to be someone, right? So those who aren't prepared are probably those who are going to suffer. So we have at the very beginning, after the competition, we've got Carla and Sammy talking to each other, saying that they've got each other's backs. They'll watch out for each other. It's just kind of a throwaway line. There's not a lot of time spent with it, but it just shows me these two different tribes. I haven't really seen them interacting much before, but it shows both of them trying to reach out to new people and trying to establish new connections just to protect themselves, because who knows what's going to happen. Sammy points out to the camera, in fact, that last week, half the tribe mates were safe. So it really wasn't a good demonstration of where people's loyalties lie. That really this week, with 11 of the 12 people up for eviction, this is where you're going to see where people's true loyalties lie. You're going to see who is actually with who. And I think he's got a valid point. Until we see these first couple of votes as a full tribe, you don't really know. People, it's a cobweb. It's a spiderweb. So many connections, but who are the true connections? Who are the strongest bonds? Well, we're going to find out this evening. Yeah, we're going to find out this evening. All right, we do have a little suggestion. A bunch of the tribe mates are out in the water, bathing, relaxing, hanging out. And we've got Owen and Jesse and Janine and Cody and Noelle, basically getting back to this idea I mentioned just a little while ago about Baca and Vesey working together. And they're saying, look, we can cast basically 4 and 4 votes. We'll cast 4 votes against Ryan. We'll cast 4 votes against James. Ryan and James are both from the former Coco tribe. And so this group is saying we'll cast 4 votes for each of them in case one of them plays an idol or whatever. And we'll get someone from the Coco tribe gone. And it sounds like a strong plan. It sounds like a strong group. But again, at this stage in the game, how well can you trust everyone in this group? We also have Dwight, and I think it is Dwight and James and Sammy and Owen all hanging out. We didn't see the conversation that was taking place before they opened up the container to the water well, or the lid to the water well, but they were there to talk about something that we just didn't get to see. But it doesn't matter, because James actually opens up the lid to the water well and sees a little bottle floating on the top, reaches in, grabs it, reads it in front of everyone. I'm sure every one of these 4 is sitting there saying, dang, how come we had to be here as a group at this point in time? It is what it is. So James reads it out loud to everyone, and it says that there's an advantage hidden under their shelter back at camp. But the key is, can they catch it? Can they find it undetected or whatever? Which brings up an interesting dilemma. These four people, are they tight enough that you trust each other with this information? Well, the fact that they all know about it at this point in time makes it a little bit difficult. In fact, James at one point says, does anyone want this? I think it's Sammy that says, yeah, I don't want anything to do with it. James, trying to make the best of maybe a difficult situation, tells everyone, says, look, I'm not going to touch this. I'm just going to leave it here, or I'm not going to try to go find that advantage or anything until after tribal. And he tells the cameras later that he knows if he was to look for it, it's going to put a huge target on his back. Now, I wasn't sure at the time whether, because he has a bottle, he's the only one that has the right to go grab this advantage or not. But he later says that for all he knows, it could be gone by the end of tribal council. So I think any one of these four theoretically could have snuck back to camp and grabbed this advantage. I think, which may be one of the reasons that even though James said he was going to wait until after tribal to grab this advantage, nah, he doesn't do it. It's like a kid waiting for Santa and for Christmas morning. Sometimes you just can't wait, and you get in there a little bit early and you kind of peek and rip open a present or two. Well, that's what James has done. Looks like the first chance he gets, he's over looking underneath their shelter, and sure enough, he finds an advantage while no one's looking. I think I would too if I was in his position. At this point in time, everyone knows about it. You got to think beyond the original three, there's going to be even more people that know about it. You might as well grab that advantage while you can and hope that it's something powerful enough to make it worth the fact that now people know that maybe you've got something a little special, especially knowing how many advantages and idols are already out there. Yes, that maybe it puts a target on James's back. There's a lot of other people who should have targets on their back as well. So I would do it too if I was James, but it is a little bit risky to do. Now, here's the thing. In the past, we'll talk about it in a second, because right now Dwight is telling Noelle what happened. So yeah, James's secret didn't last secret too long. Dwight's telling Noelle what happened, and pretty soon everyone knows, or a lot of people know. Other people who don't know for certain are suspecting that it's the knowledge is power. I think Gio had this particular advantage, and so when he got sent home, everyone's assuming that it came right back into play. So there's too many people saw this thing originally found, so now they're well, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, because at this point we don't know what the advantage is, but everyone's aware that James found this and that he very well could have an advantage at this point in time. And because of that, Noelle is now saying that she thinks she wants James gone. That the fact that he has some kind of power makes him a bigger threat than Ryan at this point. So Noelle's even talked about the fact maybe we do 5 votes against James, 3 votes against Ryan, and just make sure James gets out the door before he has a chance to use whatever this power is. So with that being said, it better be a really strong advantage power for James, or he better be able to sell the fact that he's got this strong power and he's protected enough that people are going to look elsewhere for their target, if he's aware that he's even a target. Because certainly there are people gunning for him because of the fact that he's the one that happened to find this advantage. So here's the deal. Noelle's wanting to go after James. She's ready to still split the votes, but maybe put one more on James and Ryan in order to get someone from Coco gone. But we see a little discussion with Jesse. And is Jesse willing to join in with his plan? Now, Jesse's not part of Coco, so it makes sense that he would. But he's suspecting that maybe there's a better path to take. And he's telling Carla that maybe the two of them should be working together, that maybe Noelle is getting too strong in this game. Maybe they need to knock her power down a little bit. Now, it makes sense for Carla to be all on board with this. She's hearing 2 of her Coco tribe mates potentially being targeted. If I'm Carla, I'm buying in. I'm convincing Jesse to do this immediately. Jesse is a little bit tougher because he's not part of Coco and he's potentially turning against his former tribe in doing so. But Jesse is basically potentially willing to risk some loyalties in order to do what he thinks is going to work best for his particular game. So with that, we also have Noelle selling Cody on the plan to go ahead and get at James. At one point, then Cody suggests to Noelle that maybe they go after Dwight instead and do that. So let me back that. Cody's suggesting to Jesse that maybe they go after Dwight instead of Noelle. A lot of stuff happening last night. So Cody and Jesse are talking about Cody saying maybe go after Dwight. She's tight with Noelle. Maybe we could make that happen. Cody's wondering if it's a little too early to make this kind of move, but he does really want to work with Jesse. He says whatever Jesse does, I'm gonna go with him. We're gonna work together. Just don't know if it's a little too early or not. So this advantage that I keep wanting to talk about the details, but at this point in the episode hadn't been revealed. Finally, it's revealed. James reveals that the advantage is the knowledge is power advantage. Remember, this is the advantage that at tribal council, you can ask one other person, do you have an idol or do you have an advantage? If they have whatever you ask about, they have to tell the truth and they have to give it to you. Huge power, really a strong power. Now, again, as I think I mentioned earlier, Gio had this power earlier. He got voted out. So there's a lot of people suspecting that this unknown advantage that James may or may not have in his possession could be the knowledge is power. Not good for James as a result. But this advantage has always been spoiled in the past few seasons where it's come into play because people always tell others. No one can keep a secret on this knowledge is power. And that's the key to this thing. And they just can't do it. They always tell the wrong person and it always burns them in the end. So the question is, can James keep it a secret? And does it even matter if everyone else is already assuming that it's the knowledge is power advantage, whether he tells anyone or not? And the biggest question, does James suspect that he's at enough risk in this game, at this tribal council, that he would try to use it anyway in order to get someone's idol and save himself from this tribal council? Because again, we've heard Noelle really wanting to target James, but is James aware of that? Not yet. But yeah, as far as can he keep a secret or not? Well, the answer is a big old fat no. James is telling Carla, James is telling Ryan, and James tells Cody that he has the knowledge is power advantage. Well, Cody immediately is worried because Cody has the beaded idol. Remember the one he made, put in a palm frond hat that he was wearing? He has that idol. He knows that James knows that he has the idol. So it would be incredibly easy for James to take that idol from Cody. So based on that, Cody's ready to get James out as well. Cody's ready to work with Noelle to go ahead and get James out the door out of fear that James could take Cody's idol if he has a chance to put it into play. So there's a few people who know about this advantage, and everyone else has pretty much guessed what it is. Everyone else is suspecting it could be the knowledge is power. So they've all figured out that they're going to switch idols with each other, switch advantages with each other. Big old shell game, so that James, if he does ask a question, hopefully maybe he won't get it right in terms of who has what. Janine has given her idol to Dwight. Cody has given his idol to Jesse. Noelle has given her advantage, which is a steal a vote, if I recall. Noelle has given her advantage to Owen. Now, here's the thing. One, it really is going to gum up any chance that James has to play this thing because of this. But what it also is telling me, these people have a lot of trust in each other to give away idols and advantages to one another, because there's no guarantee when you give it to someone that they're going to give it back to you. Remember we saw, was it Shayna for a couple of seasons back? I was a little worried about that. We don't know if they're going to give it back or not, but these tribe mates have a lot of trust in each other, which suggests some pretty tight bonds have already formed amongst some of these tribe mates, because they're all handing off idols and advantages to each other as though they're candy on Halloween. It's pretty amazing. So they're trying to do everything they can to keep James from being successful if he does put this thing into play. So now the big question, Jesse and Cody, who have talked about, Cody just talked to Noelle saying, maybe James does need to go and all that. But we now have Jesse and Cody talking again, wondering Should they should they go with the easy plan? Send James out the door. It's an easy plan. You're not going to get anyone upset. You get rid of an advantage that you don't want to have in the game. The easy path, right? But Jesse and Cody are also very worried about Noelle and Dwight. And I kind of jumped on this a little bit earlier, talking about it, but they're a little bit worried that Noelle's getting a little too strong in the game. They could see her accumulating power, deciding if maybe this is the time to strike. And going after Dwight instead. So here's where you're at. A little bit of a division. Is it going to be James or Ryan, who they're splitting the votes? But it seems like if that plan works, it would be James heading out the door. Or if Cody and Jesse want to stir things up a little bit, alienate people, get rid of these tribal loyalties and all that, maybe go after Dwight instead. So we're going to find out. So on to tribal again. Night number 14. 2 weeks in and all of this is going on. Dwight is immediately talking about past loyalties, past tribes. Dwight's saying, yeah, Vesey and Baca, that's no longer really a thing. It's no one really cares about the past tribal loyalties. I think he says we're all wearing the same color buff at this point. Well, maybe not so much. Dwight knows the plan is to go after the two members of Coco, Ryan and James, but he's telling Jeff, say, nah, we're all just one big happy family at this point. And there's no past tribal alliances. Nah, don't worry about that, Jeff. So we've got that. James is saying, Jeff asked him about the idols and advantages, saying, are you worried about all the idols, all the advantages out there? Yeah, foreshadowing a little bit. I always wonder, when Jeff says something like this, does everyone else immediately say, why is he talking about that? What's going on that could be the topic of discussion? But I have also heard these tribal councils last for a couple of hours, so who knows what questions Jeff asked. This is probably just one of dozens and dozens of questions he asked, but he does ask about idols and advantages. And I think James had a pretty good answer. He says, yeah, they're great to have. They're powerful. You certainly want them if you've got them, but they're not always played correctly. You don't always know when to play them correctly. So as great as they are, probably even more important is being able to have some people that you trust, that you can work with, that you can depend upon every single time, as opposed to one of these idols or advantages, which may or may not work the way you think it works. Well, that's a pretty good answer, but I'd still want an idol or advantage while I had the opportunity to do it. It is interesting that before they go to the vote, Jeff asks everyone, says, how comfortable are you feeling this evening? And everyone, except for Sammy, who is pretty much safe, but Sammy said, I don't know what's going on. I don't have a clue. Which is what you need to be saying, right? But everyone else will say, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10. There's a lot of very comfortable people on this tribe. And as Jeff points out, one person's feeling probably a little more comfortable than they should feel, considering they're getting ready to go home. So on to the vote. Everyone casts their vote. The big question at this point in time, does anyone want to use their advantage? James, in case you have an advantage. Now, Jeff doesn't say, it's just my inner thoughts. Are you going to use your advantage, James? No, he's not using it. Obviously, he's feeling safe enough with the way things are that he doesn't feel like he needs to use it at this point in time, which is probably good, because he probably wouldn't have gotten it correct since everyone switched up idols and advantages anyway. So no idols used, no shot in the darks, anything else. It's going to be a straight up vote to see who goes home. And Jeff starts reading out the votes. 1 vote for James, 1 vote for Dwight, 1 vote for Ryan, 1 vote for James, 1 vote for Dwight, 1 vote for Ryan, 1 vote for Ryan, 1 vote for Dwight, 1 vote for Dwight, another vote for Dwight, and the final vote that Jeff reads out, another vote for Dwight. Dwight has been banished from the island. His torch has been snuffed. Dwight is heading out the door, again with the BB language. Dwight is heading off the island, which is a blow to Noelle and that side of the tribe. It's not what they were planning. Dwight is gone. It looks like the plan to split votes between James and Ryan was happening. It was a plan. Everyone was agreed upon, and it looks like it was going pretty well, except for a few defectors from the tribe, which caused the downfall of the Dwight or the Ryan James split vote situation, because namely we had Cody and Jesse and Carla and Sammy and Cassidy. I wasn't expecting Cassidy. We didn't see a lot of conversations with Cassidy. I want to know what happened with that. But Cody, Jesse, Carla, Sammy, and Cassidy along with James and Ryan, to be expected, all voted against Dwight and sent Dwight out the door. So, what was that? 7 votes out of the 11. So even if they hadn't split the votes, you still would have had Dwight out the door. But certainly a blow to the easy path that everyone thought was going to happen going forward. So yeah, it was a nice little tribal council to see what happens. So now we've got quite the division amongst the final 11 at this point. We've got the 5 plus James and Ryan. So we've got 7 who voted out Dwight versus the 4. I'll check my numbers when I get that. Who split their votes between James and Ryan. 1, 2, 3. 3 votes for Ryan, 2 votes for James. All right, so we've got 5 who voted for James and Ryan, split their votes. Oh, I'm forgetting the person who got evicted as well. So anyway, we've got a division between those who wanted to get someone out from Coco and then those who wanted to go after the strong group on the island and send out Dwight instead, which is going to make very interesting episode next week. Now, I'm a little curious to see what's going to happen with Sammy, for example, because Sammy kind of has his finger in the pot, so to speak, in a couple of different groups. He voted with the defectors to send Dwight out the door, but he's also still tight with Owen and Gabler and some of the others. So not sure where his loyalties are going to go. He's going to have to make some decisions pretty quick. He may have some people challenging him, in fact, next episode as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. But there you have it, guys. Dwight is out the door. James has a huge target on his back, but he does have an advantage. We'll see if he can take advantage of it. We got a lot of people that changed immunity idols and advantages. I want to see if all of them give them back to each other. We'll find out. They're a lot more trusting than I am, but we'll see. One more item that I almost forgot to mention: the implications of everyone exchanging these idols and advantages with each other. Dwight is gone. Do y'all remember who might have shared an idol with Dwight? Yeah, Janine. Janine had the immunity idol that she had formed by getting the necklace, the beads from all the other tribe mates. She had her idol out of fear that James would take it. She gave it to Dwight to hold on to. Dwight's off the island, which would suggest to me that Janine does not have an immunity idol at this point in time, unless Dwight kept it back at camp. I'm not sure how that works, but I'm guessing that idol walked off the island along with Dwight. Tough 2 weeks, tough 2 episodes for Janine. She lost her best friend Ellie last week, and now she lost her immunity idol because they were so worried about James and his advantage. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I think Janine has lost her idol. Guys, y'all have a fantastic week. I'll be back again next Wednesday to talk about the next episode of Survivor. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.